Hey, what's up everyone and welcome to another very exciting video. Today we're going to be talking about 1995's Mortal Kombat and why it was such an amazing movie. I would dare to say that this movie is universally loved by 1990s Mortal Kombat fans. And the reason that I believe that the movie is universally loved by fans of its time period is because this movie was made with love. You see, the producers, the director, the actors, they all wanted to represent the source material on the big screen. And the actors actually cared about this movie. You see, the actors were encouraged to perform all their own stunts. Robin Shou actually broke his ribs in the fight with Scorpion. Linden Ashby actually also copped a kick to the kidneys. This resulted in him pissing blood for a week. Speaking of commitment from the actors, Christopher Lambert actually paid for his own flights to Thailand because the production couldn't afford his management fees. Suffice to say that his management was quite disappointed in him for paying for his own tickets to go there, because you know, that's less commission for them. They're actually going to film all his scenes in Los Angeles, but Christopher Lambert said it wouldn't be the same as if he was actually there talking and interacting to the cast. He was just passionate about getting it done and getting it done right. So he paid for his own flight to Thailand to go film with them. The point is, the actors just want to give it all. This movie made such an impression on the franchise that some of the characters carry out the characteristics of the characters from this movie to this day. For example, Cary-Hiroyuki Tagawa is currently Mortal Kombat 11's representation of Shang Tsung. And Kano's accent. I got a bit to say about this. Whilst the entire planet believed this to be an Australian accent, Kano has since become Australian in all the following Mortal Kombat video games. Now, as an Australian, I've got a bit to say about this. I've always found it hard to pin his accent, but just last year I was going out with this English bird and I rewatched Mortal Kombat recently and I've been able to nail the accent. It's actually Cockney. So, just in case you don't know, the Cockney accent is a form of dialect from London. And that's why Kano has an Australian background ever since Mortal Kombat 1995. One of the great things about this movie is the constant non-stop action. There's a lot of action in this movie which gives this movie a lot of credibility. But it's not just the action that sells the film, it's the soundtrack too. It introduced a generation of young people into techno. You know that scene where Liu Kang, Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade wind up fighting all those ninjas? And that theme song comes on. That scene was nothing short of legendary. This would become one of many highlights of the movie. Not just that, but there was also a lot of organic humor. In movies these days, they try to shoehorn a joke or a gag every 5 minutes. And it's very formulaic. If you go to one of these movies, you just feel like you've seen them all. However, in Mortal Kombat, the actors had very good chemistry. Robin Shou and Linden Ashby keep in touch to this very day. A lot of this movie's humor was actually improvised. And that's why I think the humor of this movie hits the spot. Another thing about this movie that was so great was, that's right, I'm saying it, the visual effects. Whilst the CGI doesn't hold up to this day, or did it ever look good, but it does the job. But the visual effects in this movie were used to add character into the personalities of this movie. For example, the thing that comes out of Scorpion's hand, Raiden's electricity, those scenes where Shang Tsung is extracting the souls of the losing combatant. These scenes were just done very well. Again, whilst they weren't the best visual effects at the time, they served a purpose. They were paying homage to what the characters do in the video games. So it just worked. Not just that, we were in an age where we were still using practical effects. A lot of this movie's budget went into the creation of Goro. And at the time, Prince Goro was the most advanced animatronic being on the planet. The cast actually joked that Prince Goro was actually the diva on set. The man in the suit could only be in there for 2 minutes due to the lack of oxygen he could get inside that suit. And for those fight scenes, that made it very difficult. They actually had to cut down Goro's screen time because it was so difficult to get his shots done. Rewatching this movie, I feel like there's only one scene that does not work for me. And that is the fight between Liu Kang and Kitana. Are they fighting as a part of the tournament? Are they just having a practice match? Is Shang Tsung just watching them, making sure that Kitana doesn't talk too much to Liu Kang? Because all the fights previous to this were to the death. And Kitana, all she really does in this movie is talk in riddles. Use the element that brings life. Like, seriously guys, that is the only thing in this movie that does not work for me. One of the other things about this movie was that Sonya Blade wasn't quite a damsel 100% of the time. I mean, sure, she gets kidnapped at the end and they have to go save her, but she exacts vengeance on her partner's death she kills Kano, solidifying her reputation as a badass. We even got to see fatalities in this movie. While Scorpion's fatality didn't kill Johnny Cage actually used his friendship fatality to finish off Scorpion. Whilst they didn't quite pull off the effect of a fireball for Liu Kang finishing off Shang Tsung, he did have an electricity thing coming out of his hand. But you know in those early Mortal Kombat games when you'd uppercut someone towards the end and they'd fall into the pit of spikes? That's there too. I do hear a few criticisms about this movie not having any blood. Me, I give 0 stuffs. We saw Sub-Zero freezing someone and smashing them to bits. We saw a lot of people dying. I mean, sure, the only blood in this movie is Shang Tsung's blood nose at the end. But yeah, I really don't care. And yeah, that's what made this movie so good. It just had respect for the source material. We heard Get Over Here, Your Soul Is Mine, Flawless Victory. We got to see some fatalities. And the actors in this film put on such a performance that they carry out some of the characteristics that these actors introduced into the characters today. And that's why I believe that Mortal Kombat 1995 was universally loved by Mortal Kombat fans in the 90s. Having said that out loud, I can understand how people would not like this movie today. I mean, those of us who love this movie to bits probably all saw it whilst we were children, and we all have that nostalgia love for it. If I've got any followers who only saw this movie recently and thought it sucked, I'd really love to hear your opinion of why. So let me know in the comment section below. And if you love the movie just like I do, let's talk about it. I wanna have these conversations in the comment section. Anyways, that's it from me. See ya.